I do not think it was right for the Speaker to decide which Republicans should be on the committee. Normally, if you have a select committee, the minority leader and the Speaker get to pick the members.
Yeah, I mean, the reason she did that is because at least two of the members McCarthy picked to be on the committee are election liars, one of whom, Jim Jordan, is possibly even a material witness. He spoke with Trump that day. The FISA application says, quote, the FBI believes that Carter Page has been collaborating and conspiring with the Russian government. There is probable cause that such activities involve or are about to involve violations of the criminal statutes of the United States. The document accuses you of being a, quote, agent of a foreign power. Were you?
Jake, this is so ridiculous. It's just beyond words. You know, it's you're talking about misleading the courts. It's just so misleading going through those 400-plus page documents. You know, where do you even begin? It's literally a complete joke, and it only continues. It's just really sad.
Well, were you ever an agent of a foreign power? Did you ever advise the Kremlin or work with the Kremlin on anything? This virus is the big lie.
I've never been anywhere near what's being described herein.
But you have advised the Kremlin in the past. That was 2013, that G20 meeting, I believe. The big lie that the election was stolen. But you did advise the Kremlin. I mean, I just want to make it clear. You did advise the Kremlin back in 2013 or 2012, somewhere in there.
Jake, it's really spin. I mean, I sat in on some meetings, but you know, to call me an advisor, I think is way over the top.
Except in a 2013 letter you wrote it says, quote, over the past half year, I have had the privilege to serve as an informal advisor to the staff of the Kremlin in preparation for the presidency of the G20 summit next month, where energy issues will be a prominent point on the agenda. That's August 2013. That's yourself calling yourself an informal advisor to the Kremlin.
You know, informal, having some conversations with people. I mean, this is really nothing and just an attempt to distract from the real crimes that are shown in this misleading document. You know, page 8, it says, it talks about disguised propaganda, including the planting of false or misleading articles, which is exactly what this is. So that's kind of the pot calling the kettle black by Mr. Comey and co.
One of the things that's interesting is the documents make it clear that they were relying on information from Christopher Steele, but not only on information from Christopher Steele. It includes a FISA warrant and 3 renewals in which officials of both the Obama administration and the Trump administration over several months assert that you're an agent of a foreign power, and then it was signed off, the FISA application and then 3 renewals, by 4 judges, all of them appointed by Republicans. So this isn't just Christopher Steele or James Comey. This is many, many people over 2 administrations, 4 judges appointed by Republicans over and over, believing that you are an agent of a foreign power. How do you respond to that? Pushed that very same big lie rhetoric. Most of the FISA application, as you know, has been redacted, the publicly released version, but some of the material in there is there. Let's talk about some of the things in there. It says, quote, the FBI believes Carter Page has been the subject of targeted recruitment by the Russian government, and then it's redacted, and then it says, undermine and influence the outcome of the 2016 U.S. presidential election in violation of U.S. criminal law. It says that the Russians were trying to recruit you. We know you've said that you went to Russia in the summer of 2016 to deliver a commencement address. Is it not a possibility that Russians were trying to recruit you, even if you didn't take the bait? Is that not possible? It seems to me like that would be their job, and you were working for Trump. You'd worked with the Kremlin in the past. That would be a reasonable thing for them to try to do. McCarthy, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise, and 124 other House Republicans went so far as to sign on to that joke of a lawsuit from the Texas Attorney General, which lent further credibility to the big lie. Well, let me ask you, you keep saying this is spin, but if you could just directly answer the questions, it would be great.
Sure.
It says the application also says that you, quote, established relationships with Russian government officials, including Russian intelligence officers. You're telling me that they pulled that out of thin air? You have no relationships with Russian government officials? You've already told me and this audience that you were an informal advisor to the Kremlin in 2013. You have relationships with Russian government officials, right? And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media.
And the fact that you have this $500 million plus a year organization, Broadcasting Board of Governors, funding this ridiculous smear campaign.
But Carter, you didn't answer. I mean, you have relationships with Russian government officials, true? Yes.
Well, let's see what they're talking about. You know, I'm
just asking you a straight question. Do you have relationships with Russian government officials? I can tell you I don't. But then again, you lived in Russia. You're an academic. You've worked in energy in Russia. You went there in 2016 to speak at a commencement address. Do you have relationships with Russian government officials? MAGA Media, where hosts not only didn't push back on the big lie, they also participated in it. Never spoken, just to make sure the people at home understand, the application says that you spoke with Igor Sechin, who's the president of a Russian energy company and a close associate of Vladimir Putin, and it charges that you two discussed in 2016, quote, prospects for an associated move to lift Ukraine-related Western sanctions against Russia. So you're saying you've never in your life spoken with Igor Sechin?
Never in my life.
But still, month after month, millions infected with the virus of the big lie. You still haven't answered my question about whether you have any relationship with any Russian government officials. You've said that you do not have one with Igor Sechin, and you do not have one. You've never spoken with Divyekin, who is a Russian internal affairs officer, who the FISA document says that Divyekin told you that the Kremlin had compromising material related to Hillary Clinton. You're denying that that happened too?
Totally false. And, you know, again, that's directly from the dodgy dossier, which was eventually revealed on January 10th of last year. It's just absolutely preposterous.
Did anyone at any time, any Russian government official, at any time in 2016, talk to you about either lifting the sanctions or compromising material that they claim to have on Hillary Clinton?
On compromising material, not one word. I was hearing about things when you were hearing about things in the mainstream media. You know, look, I mean, when I was there in July of 2016, you know, a few people might have brought it up in passing. But, you know, again, it's a major economic issue. And so, you know, there may have been a loose conversation. I'm very careful in terms of, you know, making sure that there's a clear record. There was nothing in terms of any nefarious behavior.
Okay, so you did discuss the sanctions with individuals in Russia. Did you ever hear from a Russian, not from the media, from a Russian, anything about compromising material about Hillary Clinton?
Never.
67% of Trump voters with college degrees believe the big lie. 82% of Trump voters without any college education believe the big lie. This virus is the big lie that the election was stolen. Pushed that very same big lie rhetoric. McCarthy, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise, and 124 other House Republicans went so far as to sign on to that joke of a lawsuit from the Texas Attorney General, which lent further credibility to the big lie. And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA Media. MAGA Media, where hosts not only didn't push back on the big lie, they also participated in it.